The first time, Karen, our HOA president, knocked on my door. She wasn't carrying a friendly welcome basket or offering a neighborly smile. No, she carried a clipboard, a pen, and a scowl sharp enough to cut glass. Without even saying hello, she glanced past me into my living room and muttered, "This neighborhood has rules. I hope your family understands that." I should have known, right then, this wasn't just a woman with power. This was a woman obsessed with control. And soon enough, her obsession would target not just me, but my entire family. It started small, as it always does. A warning letter about my kids' bikes being left on the driveway. Then another about my dog barking too loudly, even though half the neighborhood owned dogs. Next came a citation for improper holiday decorations, because my kids put up paper snowflakes that weren't on her approved list. At first, we laughed it off. "She's just miserable," my wife said, "don't let her get to you." But the letters kept coming. And then, she crossed the line. One evening, while I was grilling in the backyard, my kids came running inside, tears streaming down their faces. I asked what happened, and my daughter sobbed. "Karen told us we're not welcome here." I froze. Not welcome. Turns out, Karen had marched right up to them while they played on the sidewalk and said, "This neighborhood isn't for families like yours. If it were up to me, I'd have you banned." That was it. She wasn't just targeting me anymore, she was going after my family. The next HOA meeting was war. Karen stood at the front, her little army of board members beside her, and announced, "We need to discuss the repeated disruptions caused by the your last name family. Their children leave clutter, their pets are a nuisance, and their overall presence lowers the standard of this community. I propose we ban them from using neighborhood facilities. Ban my family from the pool, the park, the community center, basically, from living freely in the place we paid to be." Neighbors gasped, but no one spoke up. Karen smirked, certain she had everyone intimidated. She looked at me, expecting me to sit there, red-faced, begging for mercy. Instead, I stood up. "You want to ban my family? Then let's talk about yours." Her smile faltered, because while she was busy policing bikes and snowflakes, I had been busy collecting receipts. See, Karen wasn't nearly as squeaky clean as she pretended to be. Her own son had been caught on camera spray painting the community basketball court last summer, yet somehow, that violation vanished. Her husband, he'd been parking his RV on the street for months, a direct violation of HOA policy. And Karen herself, she'd built a massive patio extension in her backyard without a single permit. I pulled out my folder of evidence, photographs, timestamps, even copies of county permit records. I dropped them on the table with a thud. "You say my kids lower the community standard. At least my kids aren't vandalizing public property. You say my family doesn't belong here. At least we followed the rules when we moved in. Unlike you." The room erupted. Neighbors started whispering, pointing, some even shouting. "She'll find me for my fence while hers is falling apart. She told me my dog was too big while hers runs loose every morning." One by one, voices rose, and suddenly, Karen wasn't the queen of the room anymore. She was the target. Karen's face turned beet red. She slammed her gavel. "This is irrelevant. You're deflecting." "No," I shot back. "This is the truth, and everyone here deserves to hear it." The tide had turned. For years, she'd bullied, fined, and harassed anyone who didn't bow to her authority. But now, her kingdom was collapsing in real time. By the end of the meeting, neighbors demanded a vote. Either Karen stepped down, or they'd dissolve the board altogether. She fought, screamed, even threatened lawsuits, but the louder she got, the more people saw her for what she really was, a power-hungry fraud. And then came the karma. Just a week later, inspectors showed up at her property. Turns out, one of my neighbors had tipped them off about her unpermitted patio. Not only was it illegal, but it also violated safety codes. She was fined thousands, ordered to tear the whole thing down, and slapped with penalties that made the fines she'd thrown at us look like pocket change. But karma wasn't done. Her husband's RV towed, her son's vandalism reopened by the county as a criminal case. Everything she thought she could bury came crashing down at once. And my family, free. The bogus citations disappeared. The threats stopped. And suddenly, neighbors who once stayed silent started waving when they walked by, dropping by to thank us for standing up. Now, when my kids ride their bikes down the street, they do it with smiles. When my dog barks, no one cares. When we hang paper snowflakes in our window, neighbors compliment how cheerful they look. Because the truth is, Karen didn't just lose her power, she lost her grip on the whole community. She tried to ban my family. She tried to erase us from a neighborhood we worked hard to be a part of. But instead, karma erased her. And every time I see the empty spot in her backyard where her precious patio once stood, I can't help but smile. Because sometimes, you don't even have to destroy your enemies. Sometimes, karma does it for you.